Unleash the hopeless romantic within. Welcome to the Lover List, where we bring you the most swoon-worthy love, dating, and relationship stories straight from Reddit. Like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay in the loop. Girls of Reddit, what would be your ideal first date? My now husband took me to a used bookstore/antique store, and then we went out for an early dinner and went to the movies. Honestly, it was great. I'm so sad. I've offered these kinds of dates to women and have had no responses. Maybe I'm the problem. A big part of it JS knowing her interests first. Antique shops aren't for everyone, and that's okay. You gotta find what her interests are first, then make a date out of that. If she's artsy, then sign up for a pottery night. Animals, then zoo or aquarium. Maybe she likes games, so take her to an arcade. You can't just make a date out of something you think sounds fun for the both of you. If you're asking her out, then you gotta propose something that sounds interesting for her. A big part of this shows that you listen and remember what she says, and that you are willing to try out her interests. A guy actually took me to do an escape room on the first date. It was actually pretty cool because not only was it an activity where we had something to focus on/break the ice, but was able to gauge how we would solve problems together right off the bat. Didn't work out with the guy past the second date, but I always thought as far as first dates go it was a pretty good idea. Bonus, weren't able to have our phones in the escape room, so no distractions. Also, they take a picture of your escape room group after, so if the relationship worked out you have a cute pic from your first date. If we don't succeed, we'll have to be together forever. Something casual that doesn't have a big time commitment. Drinks, coffee, ice cream, or lunch/dinner. Agree on the casual thing. You need to be able to make a quickish exit if the date is going badly. Don't want to be trapped for hours having a 3-course dinner on a horrible date. Once I walked past a couple having what appeared to be a first date, and from the lady's expression and body language it was going horribly. This was 5 years ago, and I'm still feeling the second-hand embarrassment and awkwardness. Hey, so yeah, that worked for me. We did like a 7 or 8 o'clock coffee and dessert chill get together at a place that I knew of that well, had really good both. That was my last ever second date, been together 12 years now. It's all upsides as far as I'm concerned, no pressure of a full dinner or anything, less formal. Also, some people are self-conscious about what they order or eat in front of another person, so it kind of eliminates that anxiety. The place itself is a conversation catalyst. If you pick someplace kind of neat, notice things about it. Talk about what you like and don't like. If you've never been there before, hey, check this out comes up a lot, or hey, I've been here before and this one thing was amazing, or I've been wanting to try this since last time I was here, and all that. I should preface by saying that wasn't our first date. Our first one was I met up with two of her friends someplace. First off, I left a good impression by not being surprised or mad she brought friends. We met online. You don't know anything about me, but what I've told you, I totally get that you don't want to meet a guy alone for the first time. I managed to keep the whole both entertained for a while before it was time to head out. Let's keep this rolling. Second date should be something fun, not necessarily evening. For example, every Saturday in the summer our town has a riverfront market with tons of vendor booths, food trucks, it's pet-friendly, farmers market stuff, live music and all that. Great place to just walk around and browse, grab a coffee or a pretzel, and just see what's going on. You still have something to do together, so you're less likely to stall and feel on the spot, and you can get a feel for their interests and personality walking around in a place like that. See what they comment on or show interest in, and they can do the same. It's even better if you run into people you know. Beer followed by ghost hunting, and then ending the date at 8 a.m. over crappy diner breakfast. Ah yes, the supernatural treatment. Diner breakfast must also be pie. Somewhere public, but not crowded or organized. Like a fair or a festival where we can just walk around and chat and maybe go on a ride or play some games. I like roller coasters, so if you are close to an amusement park of some kind that'd be nice. It's going to differ for each woman though. I'm more wild and fun-loving. On the first date, I do an identification check, resume check, credit check, diploma/certification check, and a charge for my time. It's crazy out there and those platforms lie. April 25th, not too hot, not too cold, all you need is a light jacket. Whatever you do, don't take a girl on a mystery surprise date that ends up being a nude beach, and then ask her to film you nakedly frolicking in the sea. This should not be followed up by a lunch at Panda Express where you give her very detailed stories of your limited but bizarre sexual encounters. Also, do not drag her to a Best Buy store after lunch so you can watch free TV on the displays. I never again allowed a guy to pick me up for a date. This is the most cursed date. Literally every step was like tripping on a root. Sadly, not my worst date. The root tripping got so much more intense. Did this once with an ex. Went to a bookstore, looked around at the books and talked about what we had read, etc. Then we went and had a drink at a nearby bar. Then, each of us briefly got up from the table, went back to the bookstore and got a book for the other person that we thought they would like. And then we discussed why we thought they would like the book over those drinks. It was really fun. That actually sounds really cool. I think I'll give it a try. Thanks. I did something similar with a guy once. Went to a combo bookstore/cafe. We got lunch, then roamed the bookstore and recommended each other one book each, which the other bought. Gave us a talking point for the next month or so. Ended up panicking and asking to just stay friends after, and we actually did. We still catch up pretty regularly. Something mildly competitive but mostly just fun, like going to an arcade, or one of those axe/knife throwing places, bowling or something like that. Then drinks and a bite. But really, if someone actually thought out ahead of time a plan to take me anywhere and then did it, I'd be psyched no matter what we did. Yeah, bowling, museum, then some food and talking is the way. As I have a bit of a hard time opening up with people when it's just sitting across from each other the whole time. Need a bit of an activity to loosen things up a bit. Also interesting to see if they are a sore loser or willing to share techniques on how to do something. Just small ways to see more about the person's character, as opposed to eating first and wondering if the other person is putting on a front for you or not. One guy I met on Bumble planned a comprehensive niche sightseeing bike tour around my city, which I just moved to. We both love cycling. We concluded the ride with a drink at a super atmospheric outdoor bar. It was amazing. Unfortunately, he didn't have time for a second date for a while and it just fizzled out, but honestly it was the best first date I've ever had. Drinks and a chat in a random pub, where we'll play pool and I will demonstrate how cool and breezy I am, and then to a gig where I will proceed to show you how uncool I actually am, and then we fall in love so I never have to go on a first date again. And ideas for guys that don't drink? I think a lot of women feel uncomfortable if you take her out for drinks without drinking yourself. A nacho date would be my ideal date. I don't drink, but I love conversation over a big plate of nachos. I guess it could be kind of messy though, but that's not something I care about. I promise not to eat all the good stuff off the nachos. Married lady here. My first date with my now husband was going to see a movie we both knew would be kinda bad, then grabbing drinks and a quick bite at a casual restaurant across the street. First dates don't have to be fancy. You don't need to pull out all these stops to woo the lady or sweep her off her feet. You just have to be good company. It's all about the connection, not how much you spend or how romantic you make it. Also, just a bit of advice, a first date should always be in public, with other people around. Not a hangout at your place, and not a walk in the woods. The first date should always be in public for everyone's safety and comfort. Somewhere not too busy though, so it's a little more personal and less distracting. It shouldn't be a long one. The point is to find out if they are who they say they are and see if there is enough there for a better second date. We know first dates usually aren't the greatest because of nerves and not knowing each other. Don't take it too seriously. If it were me, I'd probably like a small dinner lunch date. Can I ask what first date you've been asked on that isn't in public and why someone would even think to accept? Every first date I've been on is either dinner, movies, bars, etc. I was talking to a girl on some dating site. I know some girls don't like it when they have to help plan the date, but I usually ask so we can find a place that she will be comfortable meeting a strange dude from the internet. Usually a bar or some place with people around. When the time came to meet up, she suggested swimming at the local lake. Sounded like a weird first date to me, but I said what the hell. She also wanted me to pick her up from her house. Again, a little weird for a first meetup, but whatever. She gave me the address and I went over to pick her up. I didn't even go to the door. When I pulled in the driveway, she just comes out and hops in my truck wearing a one-piece swimsuit and some shorts. She had nothing else but her towel, phone, and the flip-flops on her feet. It was about 7:30 p.m. on a Sunday, so the couple of people there were just packing up to leave as we got there. So we had the swimming area to ourselves and possibly the entire state park that the lake was in. When it started to get dark/chilly, we got back in the truck to cruise around and talk some more. Then I took her home. I typed this out just to say that I am sometimes astounded at the differences in people. Most women are rightfully cautious when meeting strangers, and others throw caution to the wind. I didn't opt for a second date, but to this day I'm a little envious of her ability to be completely carefree in a situation that didn't necessarily warrant it. Botanical garden. I'm liking this one. I'm convinced a botanical garden would force everyone to focus on the plants, weather, surroundings, etc. And in my experience, everyone's living this hectic go-go lifestyle that it's really lovely to see someone stop and admire plants, their leaves, etc. I've gone to a few botanical gardens, and the amount of times I've gotten caught up in smelling a flower or comparing my hand to the size of a humongous leaf, it's fun. Also, one of the most attractive men I ever met would really stop in his tracks to admire the skyline and his surroundings, and his responses were genuine. Caught me off guard. Definitely somewhere in public if you've never met. Drinks are convenient. You can stay longer if you like each other. Something more original would also be nice, like a chocolate workshop. I'm from Belgium, a festival, for instance, food related. If there was some thought put into it, that's very sweet. I like sushi, go to the Japan festival. Someplace not too loud so you can talk. I don't like it to be too busy, like seeing a movie, going to sports, because you don't really talk then. I don't agree that men are supposed to spend a lot of money on it. If it's drinks, it is cute if they want to pay for them, but it's not a no-go if they don't. My husband on our first date brought me to a pool bar. That was when I realized how much I loved playing pool. He taught me everything I know today, but it all started with that night at the bar. We talked a lot and played pool even though I was awful at it the first time. He gave me pointers and taught me how to play 8-ball. I was truly into it and he loved that, but I loved it too. I wanted to do my best. It was such an awesome night and I'll never forget it. We talked all night for hours and it was very relaxed and I felt so safe being with him. He never pushed and never intruded into my personal space. He never pressed for more. I told him later that he made me feel as though I was floating on a boat in the middle of a calm pond with the wind gently flowing and beautiful clouds were above me in the sky. He made me feel at peace. I'd never felt that way around any other man before. Now we're married, so if a man can do that to a woman, you know you've found a good one. My best first date was going gallery hopping in Chelsea, NYC. My date had a list of all the openings, so we walked from gallery to gallery drinking free wine, and since I have a background in art history, and my date was generally interested in art, it was so fun to talk about the art. Cheap as hell too, what with the free drinks. Since we were entering and leaving places the whole time, it would have been easy for either of us to say, okay, this is my last stop, to end the date in a not awkward way. A big thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Relationship Stories that'll leave you inspired. If these tales touched your heart, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you never miss an episode filled with stories that'll leave you in awe.